So we're basically saying being a landlord's amazing. You should be proud of yourself that you're making this amazing contribution to the UK economy. But what do you do with this social piece? What do you do with the human factors? Because you're not a social worker. But if you have a human approach to running your business, you can still help people without it costing you a lot of money, a lot of time. There's always a time thief, which we'll do a separate video on. I've been doing it a while. So you do lots of things, like you can screen things in a millisecond. When you meet people, you know gut instinct if they're right or wrong. And then there are other more obvious physical factors that you might take into account. For example, I had one lady who I thought she was coming through a housing team, and it worked out it was her current landlord who was trying to fob her off on us, basically saying, oh, she's had conflict with another tenant in the house, she needs to go. But they made it sound like, oh, could she come and live in one of your buildings? And when I met her, I thought, oh my God, she was literally 5 stone in weight. And at first I thought, oh, she looks really delicate. And then I thought, oh, hold on a second. I let her walk up the stairs first, which would have been to her room. And when I watched her walk up the stairs, I thought, she's holding on to the handrail like a little child would when they're unsteady on their feet. She wasn't drunk. She wasn't anything else. She was severely malnourished. And then the building had only recently been refurbished, so I was happy with everything in there. But at the same time, you're thinking, 2 things. One is, if she has an eating disorder, it's not fair on the other tenants in that building to basically wake up and find her being sick in the toilet. It's not fair for them to have to catch her when she faints because she hasn't eaten. And it's not fair to the other tenants if she skids down the stairs and breaks her leg, because I don't want that in my building. I don't want that stress on my other tenants. And I definitely don't want to have to claim on insurance because a tenant has had an injury in one of our buildings. That is not good for us at all. So in that instance, I declined politely, but I did ring the current landlord because the landlord that came with her was lying and pretending he wasn't her landlord. So I said, okay, I'll ring the female version of the landlord couple. And when I rang her and I said, listen, unfortunately, we're unable to take your tenant, but are you aware that she probably should be in specialist accommodation because she's clearly poorly and she's shaking. She's so tiny, she can't move, like she can't support herself. And female landlady just said, I don't get involved with what the tenants do. I don't get involved in their arguments. And I said, oh no, I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. This tenant is severely malnourished and clearly has a mental health issue that needs dealing with. You may wish to help her get social accommodation. And she was like, it's nothing to do with me. She wants to stay, she stays, and if she wants to go, she goes. So I was like, okay. So that's an aside. So you can choose who you do and don't have in your building. Even a very blind tenant was applying to come and live in one of our buildings. And luckily I asked questions up front, and actually this one was coming through a housing team. And I said, listen, if this was a ground floor room or a ground floor studio, I would be more than happy to accommodate the lady. However, she's 100% blind and all of the facilities she would have to go upstairs to. And again, she might be happy to do it. She might be used to being blind, not know any different, and know how to navigate her way around. However, again, you're looking at the stress factor that she would be causing to other tenants who feel obliged to step in and help.